AoE2 DE features 35 unique civilizations. Now, although each of these civilizations shares around, 80% or so of the same tech tree, each civilization is unique in at least one way or another, so I thought it would be just a fun little trivia video thing to go through each civilization's tech tree, including their bonuses and unique units and whatnot, and just point out one thing that each civilization's tech tree is completely unique, or at least one of the most interesting ways in which they are unique, because they are actually all unique. But I thought I'd just point out some of the more fun ones. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this and just have some fun here. I will try to keep these fast, as we do have 35 civs to get through. And also, I will admit that although some civilizations have a bunch of stuff, some civilizations I kind of had to stretch for and are probably not the most interesting. But, I did what I could to make sure every civ gets their time in the limelight. With that said, Aztecs are the only civ in the game that has no building HP upgrades whatsoever, or bonuses, or anything like that. They miss masonry, architecture, and hoardings, wherever that is. There it is. And they have no bonuses or anything to compensate for it. The only other civs that are like that are Byzantines, but they get the HP bonus and hoardings, and Vietnamese don't get any bonuses, but at least they get hoardings. Alright, the Berbers. So, they have the fastest single non-cheat unit in the game, the Trade Cog. I have talked about this in my useless facts trivia video thingy, but it is still definitely a unique point for the civ, as they have the ships that move 10% faster, they have access to dry dock, and every civ has caravan. So yes, their Trade Cog is the single fastest unit in the game, and I do think that's pretty darn unique. The Britons. Now, the Britons have, the longest range archers in the game, but that's boring. A more interesting one is that, indeed, the Britons have the unit that has the most theoretical damage in a single shot. That is, of course, the Briton Trebuchet with Warwolf. The Warwolf Trebuchet's damage is really only limited by how many units you can stack on top of each other, or at least within the blast radius. And of course, it's dealing, around 200 damage to each individual unit over and over and over again. So yeah, the Briton Warwolf Trebuchet should, I think, have the most theoretical damage of any unit. Bulgarians! So, yeah, I'll be honest, this is the one civ that I really couldn't find anything super interesting for. If you can think of something super cool for Bulgarians, definitely let me know in the comments, but this is the one civ that really I couldn't think of anything great. The only thing that came to mind was that they have the fastest attacking cavalry with their Cavalier, but that's just kind of obvious with stirrups. So yeah, definitely let me know if you can think of anything more interesting, but that's all I got. Burmese, this one's a pretty obvious one. They are the only civilization in the entire game that misses leather archer armor. This tech is not an X for the other 34 civs in the game, so yeah, that's obviously quite unique, and definitely a design point of the civ. Byzantines. So yes, they have the highest HP on all of their buildings and stuff like that, but I think a fun one for the civilization is that they have the fastest attacking unit in the game, and that is, of course, their fire ships. They attack 20% faster, and fire ships are already the fastest attacking unit in the game, or rather the fastest reloading unit in the game, I guess is technically how it works. But yeah, obviously Byzantines going to be kings in that regard. Celts. Celts, this one's a little less great. They have the worst blacksmith in the entire game, missing 3 Imperial Age blacksmith techs, only having blast furnace and plate mail. Every other civ has at least 3 blacksmith techs and Imperial Age that they can do. Yes, technically Celts do tie with Mayans and Incas, and yes, technically Aztecs have 4, but, I'm not counting Shotel Warriors, so for practical reasons, Celts have the worst blacksmith in the game, and definitely the only one to only possess 2 Imperial Age blacksmith techs. Chinese. So, admittedly, not the greatest one ever, but I still think it's worth pointing out that this civ has the most unique start by far of any civ. You start with +3 villagers, obviously the most. You start with the most resources penalty, I guess, against you, more than Mayans or Huns. And you even have the town centers with the extra population and line of sight. So Chinese, definitely, they're a civilization that is defined by their unique start. And if you're able to tackle that and use it to your advantage and not to your detriment. So it's definitely still, it's literally the most defining point of the civilization. Coomers! So Cumins have the single fastest land unit in the game, and that is their scout cavalry in Imperial Age. So for some reason, scout cavalry are slightly faster than light cav and hussars. Light cav and hussars are the same speed. I don't really know why that is, but once you hit Castle Age, I believe, they get even more extra little bit of speed, and with Cumins having their extra 5% speed in Imperial Age, they will actually, if you never upgrade to light cavalry, but are in the Imperial Age, the Cumin Scout Cav is going to be the single fastest land unit in the game, even more than Mongol siege towers. Ethiopians. So the one I chose for this civ is that they have the single fastest creating unit in the game with the Shotel Warrior, with royal heirs and conscription. And I believe these guys come out in 3 seconds game time. So yeah, that's obviously really, really fast. These guys can just fly out of a castle once you get royal heirs and conscription. So yeah, definitely a very unique aspect of both the unit and the civilization as a whole. Franks. Now this one's a little bit weirder, but still something I've noticed, and that is, among all cavalry civilizations, they have ostensibly the worst stable, if you look at it just in terms of how many X's they have. I mean, if you just ignored the bonuses on the side, you'd think that they were a fairly mediocre cavalry civ, but obviously, even if you give them back bloodlines, they're still very limited in terms of their cavalry options. Not having hussars, and due to not having bloodlines, even not having the greatest light cav in the world, but obviously chivalry and their paladins are insane. Not even, I know it's not technically the stable, but also they don't have a cavalry unique unit, so at first blush you might think, how on earth is this a good cavalry civ? And then you remember that they have plus 20% hit points, and I'd say that chivalry is even more important than that with the 40% faster creation time. In a similar vein, we have the Goths, and they have the fastest working production building in the game, and that is of course their barracks with their team bonus as well as perfusion. And that gives you very, very, fast-producing infantry units. And although Ethiopian Shotel Warriors as an individual unit produce the most quickly, Goth Barracks, obviously just as a production building, more than, any other building, going to be with the most overall quick production stuff. This is something, of course, that I have gone over in another video, but Huns actually have the single worst tech tree in the game. They have more X's in their tech tree than any other civilization, most notably, of course, the House. That's obviously their defining civ bonus, and obviously everyone kind of knows that. But yes, they are the only civilization in the entire game that does not have access to the House. Also, a little bit more interesting, I think, is that they actually have the worst tech tree on paper. Although it doesn't feel like that. Huns have like a very lean tech tree in that you have most everything you need. Incas. Incas are the one civilization in the entire game that has a full barracks tech tree. Because, of course, they have access to the Eagle Warriors, as well as fully upgraded halberdiers and champions. Mayans miss out on champions and supplies. Aztecs miss out on halberdier. So that does leave Incas as the one civilization where you see this whole barracks thing, everything from it is nice and pretty and lit up. So for Indians, you have the one civilization in the entire game, and this is something that people have probably noticed, but still worth pointing out, that has access to stables, but does not have access to knights. So, discounting the 3 American civs, Indians are the only civilization in the game without access to knights. Obviously, their camels are something of a stand-in for them, but not perfect replacements. And it's definitely just one of the most salient points of the civ. And yes, they are the only civ in the game that does not have access to knights, but has access to stables without converting them. Italians. Now, this civilization, you may have noticed, has the most discounts of any civilization. I guess it's not technically related to their tech tree, but I'm still putting it in here. Notice that all 4 of their civilization bonuses are discounts. Aging up is less, dock techs are less, fishing ships are less, gunpowder units are less, and Silk Road makes their trade units cost less. So that is 5 total discounts for the civilization. Italians are the #1 bargain buyer civilization. Japanese have the single fastest source of work rate, villager, or economic unit, I guess. And of course, the Imperial Age Japanese fishing ship with gill nets collects food faster than any other unit collects resources. And by that, I suppose I mean villagers. But yeah, faster than Mongol hunters or anything like that. It is, of course, the Japanese fishing ship who reigns supreme. Khmer, I couldn't really find anything super, noticeable with their tech tree, but something I guess I felt that sort of encapsulates the civilization's uniqueness is that, in my opinion, they have the most fundamentally unique bonuses in the game, in that they're not really comparable to, anything. You have no buildings required to advance to the next stage or to unlock other buildings. Completely unique bonus. There isn't really anything that's an analog to that. I mean, yes, you could say that maybe cheaper aging up or faster aging up, but that's not really the same thing. Farmers don't require mills or town centers to drop off food. The only source of, villager or fishing ship, I guess, that just they go right to your stockpile. You don't have to drop it off anywhere. There's nothing else in the game that's like that. I guess maybe relics and Fatorias, but those obviously, they're not units. You have villagers that can garrison inside houses. Yeah, there is no other civilization that has a bonus that, takes a building that you can't garrison and makes it a building you can garrison. So yeah, that is a very unique bonus. Although it's not quite as unique, still as a concept, a double crossbow, just doubling the amount of projectiles you fire as an upgrade, it's the only one like that in the game. So overall, I'd say the Khmer, probably the most unique bonuses. With Koreans, we go back to being nice and straightforward, and Koreans have the best university of any civilization in the game. They are the only civ in the entire game that has a complete university tech tree. Not a single X here. Every other civ has at least one X, although some are very, very close, like Portuguese and Turks. But yeah, Koreans, the only civ in the game that has a complete university, and on top of that, they get some techs for free, i.e. the tower upgrades and Bombard Tower once you get chemistry. Lithuanians. Again, I couldn't find a ton with this civ. Obviously, the relic bonus is very unique, but the one I went with is Halberdiers. Their spearmen are the single fastest moving spearmen in the game, even faster than Celts, due to having both squires and their faster movement speed. It's not really that awesome, crazy, exciting, but that's all I could find that was completely unique with the civ. Magyars. So this is the only civ that has a trash quote-unquote unique unit, or you can make it a trash unit with Corvinian army. But the one I'm going to go with is they are the only civilization in the game that has access to both fully upgraded arbalests and fully upgraded paladins, sort of the two end-line units for both cavalry and archers, and of course cav archers, but here, especially paladins and arbalests, both fully upgraded as options, really, really great for the civilization in terms of versatility in how you can go about playing them against different civilizations and on different maps and stuff. And that is actually pretty cool and unique. Malay, probably know this one. Malay are the only civilization in the game that has scale barding armor, but not chain barding armor. And obviously that every civ has scale barding armor except the American ones. So again, discounting the American civs, they are the only civ that does not have access to chain barding armor. It is a huge design point of the civilization. It's a key weakness, if you will. And yeah, definitely a very defining weakness of the civilization. Civilizations are defined by not just their strengths, but their weaknesses. Both are equally important when creating an identity for a civilization. Malians, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, but Malians are the only civ in the game that has, I guess, the most complete tech tree up until the Castle Age. So if you discount Imperial Age, Malians have literally everything, except for the pseudo-unique units of Battle Elephants, Steppe Lancers, and Eagle Warriors. Those guys aside, they have literally everything else until Castle Age. They only miss stuff in Imperial Age. So yeah, just going to go through this quickly one more time just to show you. They literally have everything, which I think is still pretty cool and pretty unique. Mayans. So the one I went with here is that they are unfortunately the only civilization that cannot ever make cavalry units of any kind. as not only do they not have stable like their American Civ brethren, Aztecs and Incas, but they cannot convert stables with redemption because they don't have redemption, and so they can't make Shotel Warriors. So literally, Mayans are unfortunately the only Civ in the game that can never ever make cavalry from a building. Feels bad, man. Mongols! So there is a lot of interesting stuff with the civilization, but the one I'm going to go with is they are the only Civ in the entire game that misses both crop rotation and a two-man saw. I guess, yeah, Ornlu Celts miss both. Yeah, but Celts have their Civ bonus, and it's literally a better version of two-man saw that you get free from the beginning of the game. So, aside from that, yes, they are literally the only Civ that misses both two-man saw and crop rotation. It's been that way since Age of Kings. Actually, no, in Age of Kings, I think Japanese also didn't have two-man saw. But at least since Age of Conquerors, yeah, the only Civ that is like this. Persians! This is the civilization with the most complete stable tech tree, the most, fully upgraded stable units. I guess maybe if you count, some civs have, Tatars have both Steppe Lancers and Camels, but in terms of fully upgraded Hussars, fully upgraded Paladins, and fully upgraded Heavy Camels, Persians are the one civilization that has all three of these units fully upgraded, and of course they have a Cavalry unique unit to boot. So yeah, that is definitely one of the big defining points of the civilization, is just not only do they have great cavalry, but they have great cavalry in all three of the core cavalry units. Portuguese have the most unique units / building of any civilization. I count unique buildings as unique units, more or less. So yes, they have the caravels at the dock. Well, caravel and elite caravel at the dock. You have the organ gun, which I missed somewhere along the way. You guys know the organ gun. And they have the Fatoria, of course. So that is 3 unique building, or units / building. And they are the only civilization in the game that actually gets 3 distinct, unique things in that regard. Saracens. So Saracens, in a similar vein to Indians, of all the civs that have cavalry, again, discounting the American civs, they're the only ones that have knights, but not cavalier. So Indians don't even get knights. Saracens do at least get knights to make in Castle Age, and, there are plenty of times you do make knights with Saracens in Castle Age. But yes, they are the only civ that has knights, but doesn't have cavalier. So obviously, that is definitely one of the big sort of unique points of the civilization, going all the way back to Age of Kings. So yeah, definitely very unique aspect of the civ. Slavs. So, again, this might be a little bit of a cop-out, but Slavs have the fastest working farmers in the game. Well, you might be thinking, well, duh, Ornlu, they have the bonus. Well, yes, that's true, and that might be obvious in the end, but it's still worth mentioning that Slavs have faster farmers than Khmer, they have faster farmers than Aztecs, and even will surpass Vikings with their free wheelbarrow and handcart once they get those upgrades up and running as well. So yeah, Slavs in the end, at the end of the day, going to be having the best farmers. Spanish, I'm sure you guys see this one coming. They are the only civilization in the game that has full upgrades on all 3 main trash units. And that is, they have fully upgraded elite skirmishers, they have fully upgraded halberdiers, and they have fully upgraded hussars. Literally the only civ in the game that has all 3 of these units fully upgraded. Obviously, having the best trash in the game, arguably. I mean, it's very arguable. At least one of the best trash tech trees in the game is a very defining point of the civilization, almost as much as their missing crossbowmen, but obviously they share that with Bulgarians now. But yeah, definitely big point with the civ. Tatars. The one I went with here is they are the one civilization that can make the longest ranged legitimate unit in the game, and that is the Timurid Siegecraft Trebuchet, where you can get up to 19 range on these bad boys once you get siege engineers as well. So yeah, that is longer range than anything else in the game. Normal trebuchets with siege engineers have 17 range, as do Turk elite cannon galleons with artillery. But outrange in all of them is the mighty Timurid Siegecraft Trebuchet from Tatars. Teutons! a civ that's definitely been kind of hodgepodge thrown together in terms of how it's been developed over the years. They have the most bonuses of any civilization, with 6 bonuses plus a team bonus, obviously plus 2 unique techs as well if you want to count those. But yes, they have monk healing range, tower garrison space, murder holes and herbal medicine free, farms costing less, town centers garrisoning more, barracks and stable units with their extra armor that was recently added, and of course their team bonus of resisting conversion. Yeah, they have 6 bonuses, more than any other civ in the game. Turks. Yeah, I'm sure you guys see this coming. They're the only civilization in the game that does not have access, to Elite Skirmisher, and they're the only civ in the game that doesn't have access to pikemen. Every other civ in the game has these 2 little boxes unchecked. And obviously it is like the defining point of the civilization, and why it's been somewhat confined to mediocrity throughout the course of the last 20 years. It's just how the civ works, it's how the civ is balanced, and well, there's no getting around the fact that you don't have Elite Skirmisher or even the pikemen. Vietnamese. So the one I went with here is that Vietnamese are the civilization that has the most directly affecting teammates bonuses. Like the most bonuses that literally impact your teammates pretty much no matter what. And that is enemy positions are revealed at the start of the game. Yeah, I know it's technically not a team bonus, but any team with like the slightest bit of coordination, you can just ping the positions of the enemy teams, and literally like any even reasonably high-level team will do that. It is very much a team bonus, even if it isn't listed as one. And of course, beyond that, you have the paper money tech, best unique tech in the game, very much directly affects your teammates. And of course, you have Imperial Skirmishers that you give to the entire team as well. So that is 3 distinct bonuses that are, in one way or another, directly affecting the entire team. And last but not least will be the Vikings. And the Vikings are the only civilization in the game without the fire ship line. Every other civ in the game has at least fire galleys and fire ships. And Vikings, nada. Obviously, they have longboats to compensate for this. And Koreans also miss demos, but I went with the university one for them. But yeah, Vikings definitely only civ in the game that does not have access to the fire galley line whatsoever. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun little video. It's really nothing too, I guess, serious when it comes to like high-level competitive stuff, but definitely some of them are very salient design points of the civilization, and I certainly did not mention all of like the interesting, unique aspects of civilizations. I just tried to limit it to 1 per civ. So definitely, if you have something fun and unique about a civilization's tech tree and bonuses and stuff, definitely put it in the comments section below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.